everyone, Chris here from anabolicmen.com, where we give you 100% research-backed advice to improve your male hormonal health. So today I want to give a bit of a master class here on, because I get this question all the time, and so does Ali. We get tons of emails every week. There are people asking about how to get off of hormone replacement therapy naturally and to naturally kickstart their testosterone production again, because as everyone knows, when you go on hormone replacement, so if you go on testosterone replacement therapy, for example, you use the gels, you use injections, what happens is it's a form of false feedback. So your body actually stops producing its own testosterone, but it will also upregulate large amounts of estrogen production in the process. So when you go off of the testosterone replacement therapy or the hormone replacement therapy, what a lot of guys find is they have a lot of trouble for usually about a year after they go off of therapy, because their body has trouble using its own natural testosterone production, and usually they're going to have also elevated levels of estrogen because of that false testosterone that was in their system before. So I just want to basically walk through what the issue is and how to give you guys some tips to actually really kickstart that recovery period. Now, I want to just start off the masterclass video here by setting some expectations, because when you're on a lot of guys that are on hormone replacement are on it for prolonged periods of time. You rarely see people go on it for 2 months or something. Usually guys are on hormone replacement therapy for years. And what happens is when you go for years without your body ever producing any of its own testosterone naturally, you have to expect to go through a recovery period. This is not something that you're going to see a huge uptick in your testosterone in 10 days or whatever. This is not the shit fitness industry, where where everyone's selling you the idea that you can get ripped in 30 days and that sort of thing. You have to have realistic expectations. I know some guys actually get mad when I tell them this, when I set this expectation, but it's true. You have to give your body time to recover from the damage of the hormone replacement therapy. It has to naturally start to produce its own LH again and signal. You have to improve the signaling from GnRH, from the hypothalamus, to the LH production in the pituitary gland, to the testosterone production in the Leydig cells in your testes, and also to your adrenal glands, so to regulate stress and everything. It takes time, and it takes a combination of, it's not just supplements, it's not just nutrition, not just training, it takes a combination of everything. So today what we're going to talk about in this masterclass is what that combination of everything is, and then how, some expected time frames on what you can expect to improve your situation. So I want to start off setting that expectation. This could take upwards of a year for you to really do this. On my own journey, on my own testosterone journey, I had problems with my pituitary gland signaling LH production to the Leydig, the LH signaling to the Leydig cells. So I had 11 nanograms per deciliter testosterone levels because of this issue. And it took me 18 months to solve the issue. Getting from 11 to 1192 nanograms per deciliter took 18 months. So somewhere in between there, that was, I hit the threshold, like the 600 threshold, I think, around a year. It's going to take you about a year to really get or at least set the expectation for that. It might take you less period of time, but don't think this is going to be, some 14-day thing where you go on some, testosterone cleanse and now you're pumping out testosterone on your own again. This is going to take time, but like anything, it also requires the consistency of it. So you have to do the right things over and over and over, and it's about a lifestyle change. The hormone replacement therapy is a Band-Aid. It doesn't solve anything. You had low testosterone before you went on hormone replacement for a reason. There were solid reasons for your body having low testosterone production, but by going on hormone replacement, it's not necessarily your fault that this happened, because a lot of us, we trust our doctor's recommendations. However, our doctors don't know, and they're not doing the research. They're not studying how your body, and most of them don't think testosterone is a big deal, which is crazy. They don't think your hormones are a big deal, because they're all specialized in their own thing. They're all educated by pharmaceutical companies. So it's not necessarily your fault that this happened, but it did happen. So there's no need to point fingers or play the victim, but play the champion here. And actually, now you're going to educate yourself on what to do. And then you need to be consistent, because when you're consistent doing the right things, it's going to add up. And the more things you do right, the faster this process will be, and you will be out of the woods, so to speak. And your body will naturally be producing testosterone on its own. And this is kind of like the process, the post-psychotherapy process for coming off of steroids, anabolic steroids. Hormone replacement therapy is really a mild form of taking a steroid, because testosterone is a steroid hormone. But luckily, it is more mild than a lot of the guys that are coming off of anabolic steroids, so you will have a bit of a faster process than they usually do. Like I said, just a couple stats to start this off. The company that, just so you understand the gravity of what's going on, the AbbVie, the company that makes Androgel, which is the main massively prescribed hormone replacement gel, makes billions of dollars a year. Now, if you try and think about that per month, $1 billion per year, separated into months, these guys are making like $100 million a month or more off of this product. So you can kind of see the scope of it. And really what the reality is, and I'll talk about a few of the reasons why you probably have low testosterone in the first place, but our grandparents, our grandfathers had statistically had 50% higher testosterone levels than we have today. And that's not because they had some fancy gel, because this wasn't even invented back then. So you have to look at the difference in the generations and what happened, and all the chemicals and the increase in plastics and estrogens in our environment, and the decrease in food quality in the meantime, increase in stress as a society, and the stressful situations and jobs and everything like that. So there is a clear path to solving this issue. Now, the first thing, basically what we developed here at Anabolic Men is called the Masculine Optimization Pyramid. And the Masculine Optimization Pyramid it's a framework that walks through how to naturally solve these hormonal problems. So the bottom of the pyramid and the foundation of the pyramid is micronutrients. So micronutrients are the first thing that you need to address. Before anything else, you need to address your micronutrient balance and eliminate and correct any deficiencies that you may have, because statistically, that was probably the reason that you had low testosterone in the first place before you went on hormone replacement therapy. Because almost every Western man is deficient at least a handful of micronutrients that are responsible for the metabolic processes involved in the production of testosterone and regulation of hormonal balance. So by knowing this, now you can correct this issue quickly by eliminating and correcting these micronutrient deficiencies. Now, the main ones that you will want to look for, and this is you can use statistics and just supplement with these things and increase micronutrient rich foods in these things into your diet. However, I highly recommend that you actually take a test, a micronutrient test, and a good company to do that is Reset Yourself. If you go to resetyourself.com/testshock, TESTSHOCK, you can get all the information about that. And I've personally used that service. It's a really awesome service. And they basically gave me a full layout of all the major micronutrients that are responsible for testosterone production and where my levels were. And I noticed that I had some glaring deficiencies. And at that time that I took that test a few months back, I think it was about 5 months ago, maybe 6 months ago, I was actually feeling a lot of stress level, a lot of increased stress in my life, and I didn't really have a way to put my finger on why. And I noticed that with the information and the data from that test, it helped me identify what I was deficient in. I eliminated those deficiencies and I actually felt way better rather quickly. So there's research showing that in certain micronutrients, if you are deficient in them, you will have low testosterone, but if you eliminate that deficiency and bring it back up to a normal level, they've seen in healthy male human subjects and in infertile men, they've seen a rapid increase to bring testosterone back up into the normal range. So you can at least have a baseline there by eliminating those micronutrient deficiencies. And a couple of those are zinc, magnesium, boron is a really good one, vitamin K2, vitamin C, vitamin D, and A. So get those checked if possible. If not possible, then get some good supplements. We have a bunch of supplements over on store.anabolicmen.com. We have we only put the highest grade stuff in our store, so you can trust everything that's in the store as being the most bioavailable, great form of each supplement. And good brands. We only use good brands. So correct the micronutrient deficiencies. That's at the base of the masculine optimization pyramid. That's the first thing you need to do. Now the next thing is making your nutrition matter. Now you need to, if you eat a terrible diet, then you are going. That's probably what caused your micronutrient deficiencies in the first place. But if you continue to eat a poor diet that's not supporting natural testosterone production, then you're going to be just shooting yourself in the foot and wasting a bunch of money on supplements or whatever, wasting a lot of time, a lot of energy if you just keep doing the same patterns of poor eating. Now I talk about all the science behind everything, natural testosterone production, all the nutrition tactics and training and whatnot that you need to do in the Test Shock program. But to make a long story short, you need to focus on certain types of fats. You need to have a good amount of starch and fructose in your diet for healthy metabolism. And then you need to actually lower your protein levels, because most guys are eating too much protein. And what they're doing is they're sacrificing, by going into massive protein levels, they're sacrificing the more important macronutrients for their endocrine system, which are carbs and fats. So the types of fats that you want to eat, focus on saturated fats, especially if you can get them from animal sources. Also, drastically limit the unsaturated fats, especially polyunsaturated fats. However, monounsaturated fats are fine, as long as you're not consuming large amounts of monounsaturated fats. But I recommend avocados and olive oil and olives. So it's very simple. Those are just simple ways to get monounsaturated fats. So there's research showing that eating saturated fats and monounsaturated fats is going to help. Also, there's a lot of research showing that increasing carbohydrate intake from simple starch and having fructose is going to help not only your testosterone production, but also thyroid, which is paramount to optimize and will help with your metabolism, keeping a healthy metabolism. And decreased protein levels you're not going to just waste away and lose a ton of muscle. You're creating an anabolic hormonal environment that's going to help you naturally produce testosterone. So make your nutrition matter. That's the second thing. That's the next rung up in the framework of the masculine optimization pyramid. Next is aligning your lifestyle with your goals. It is a lifestyle choice to optimize your health this way. So, consuming large amounts of alcohol all the time, having not having sex or masturbating 10 times a day, or making lifestyle choices that are counterproductive for your natural testosterone production is also going to be shooting yourself in the foot. So you need to optimize your lifestyle. Now the Test Shock program really talks a lot about this stuff. But one of the main things that you can do is avoid excessive phytoestrogen and consumption through plastics. So stop handling sales receipts, stop drinking out of crappy plastic bottles and that sort of thing. So and stop eating out of Tupperware, stop microwaving with Tupperware. Just by cutting down on your plastics consumption and consuming food and drinks out of plastic containers will drastically help decrease the estrogen level in your body. So optimize your lifestyle with your goals. Also regulate your stress levels, actively do things to keep your stress down. Now the fourth part of the pyramid, in this case, you want to be training your body in a way that is going to maximize hormonal output. And the best way to do that is to work off of the testosterone work principle and to actively reject anything that doesn't work on this principle. So that the principle is you want to have as much muscle volume activated as possible in as short a period of time as possible. So what happened, and then you have to keep it under the stress threshold. So you don't want to get it too stressful. There's a threshold where you cross where your training is overly stressful to the body, and then you'll see a drastic decrease in testosterone. But under that threshold, you'll see a massive increase in testosterone. I explain it all in the Test Shock program, also in the Thor program for more weight training oriented guys. But you need to actively avoid doing things like chronic cardio and chronic endurance training, because that's going to bring you over that stress threshold, and you're not doing much work on your muscles. You're actually just training the wrong systems, and you're actively working against your testosterone production. So if you want to really dig in more, there's some free articles on training on anabolicmen.com. There's also, you can get the Test Shock program or the Thor program if you're more into weight training, and you can really dig into that, but you need to train properly. You also will be shooting yourself in the foot if you're training against your testosterone production. Now the last thing, and this one's the most fun and one of my favorites, is the strategic supplementation. So I'm going to talk about a couple things here, and I have them here with me, that you can use to help kickstart your natural testosterone production again. So the first one is it's Mucuna. So Mucuna it contains a lot of L-DOPA, so it increases dopamine production, and in doing so you're going to see a large uptick in GnRH production, which is a signaling hormone from your hypothalamus to your pituitary, which signals your pituitary gland to increase LH production, which is the main problem that guys have when they take hormone replacement therapy, is their body stops producing LH. So when you go get a blood test, you're going to see after you go off of hormone replacement, or even while you're on hormone replacement, that you have very low LH production. What Mucuna does is increases dopamine levels that will increase the GnRH production to signal for more LH production in your brain. So what this is going to do is kickstart your brain's natural testosterone signaling, synthesis pathway. Also, every ingredient in Testrox is for enhancing natural testosterone production. However, we also, while we're on the topic of LH production and GnRH production, contains inositol, glycine, and L-theanine, which in the right dosages increase GnRH production as well, and then therefore LH and testosterone production. This also has boron, organic KSM-66 ashwagandha, has magnesium and zinc, which I mentioned earlier, and the micronutrients are very important for micronutrient supplementation. Also forskolin. So that's a really good thing to be taking right now that you're coming off of HRT to naturally kickstart your testosterone production. Also, creatine is one of the most studied supplements, and just simple creatine monohydrate will do the trick. There's a lot of positive correlation with androgen production and taking creatine. Don't worry about any kind of bloating or whatever. That should be the least of your worries. Water retention. Also, I want to talk to you about these two supplements. They're very inexpensive, very affordable supplements: choline bitartrate and betaine. These are what are known as estrogen methylators. So now that you're coming off of hormone replacement, you're going to have high circulating estrogen levels. And what you want to do is get rid of that excess estrogen while you're stimulating more LH production and more testosterone production in your body. And the way to do that is to take estrogen methylators. Now, what these two things do, what choline and betaine do, is they add a methyl group to the estrogen molecule. And estrogen, the estrogen molecule is unstable. So when you add a methyl group to the estrogen molecule, it becomes inert, it gets chelated and passed out of your body. So you can decrease the levels of circulating estrogen in your body by taking estrogen methylators. And these two are the best. They're very affordable. Like I said, they're very simple and they're very healthy. Especially choline is extremely healthy for your brain, and you can take it in very high dosages. You'll also see that when you take it in high dosages, that you get a nootropic effect, and you just feel really focused and really good. You can get rid of brain fog, and it's really stimulating for your brain. So I highly recommend that as you come off of hormone replacement therapy, that you consistently take an estrogen methylator, either choline or betaine or both, while you're doing this, while you're taking other things like Mucuna, Testrox, and creatine, because if you're taking all these together, you're going to be positively influencing the GnRH, LH production and testosterone production while decreasing the circulating estrogen levels in your brain. I also recommend, if you haven't read the Test Shock program, read it. It's got everything in it that you'll need to know, all the basics, how your body produces testosterone, the training, all the lifestyle things you should avoid, the nutrition, everything. It talks about sex, masturbation, everything you need to know to naturally increase your testosterone levels.